Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here for EllenHutson.com and welcome to Satur-YAY. We are celebrating the weekend by getting our craft on. And today I am playing with some brand new products from Lawn Fawn, including their Magic Picture Changer die set. Now this die set creates a really cool interactive card and it has these 4 dies that you see here. It comes with a couple of the pieces that you need to actually create the picture changing window. And then it also has a frame and a pull tab. So these are the 2 action pieces and these are kind of decoration pieces. They do function in a way and you'll see that here in just a bit. And also available is the Magic Picture Changer add-on. Now this creates a full cover and it has an additional tab that says pull on it. So the add-on really just kind of enhances the Magic Picture Changer die set. Now I'm going to take these 2 kind of funky looking pieces here. And first I'm going to walk you through the assembly of the Magic Picture Changer. We're not creating a card here. I want to take my time and walk you through this assembly. And I think you're going to be surprised at how easy this assembly really is. So I'm taking that outer piece. This is going to create kind of the pocket that is going to build up your Magic Picture Changer, and I'm die cutting it from white cardstock. And you can see that it creates 4 slits here. You see those little tabs there? Those are going to be important here when we go to assemble, and it's going to all make sense here in just a bit. Now I'm going to take this other piece that has kind of those slanted windows on it. This is the inner slider piece, and I'm die cutting it from some dark gray cardstock. And the reason that I'm doing this is so that you can really see what I'm doing as I assemble this die collection. So I have my outer piece in the white and the inner slider piece in the dark gray there. Now this has score lines that are created by the die, and I'm going to go ahead and just fold along those score lines and reinforce them with my Teflon bone folder. I will say that I think the most difficult part of this whole assembly is just folding these little tabs that are along the outside of this outer portion of the Magic Picture Changer. So I'm just taking a ruler and I'm butting them right up against the score line and getting my fold started. And then I'm going to flip it over and reinforce that score line with my bone folder. And I'm going to start kind of towards the middle and work my way out on that fold with my bone folder and get a really nice crease there. So if you just take a ruler and kind of push that score line against the ruler and get your fold started there, I think it makes it a little easier. And I'm going to show you that here again. So I'm just taking this ruler, I'm butting it up against that score line, and I'm starting my fold, and I'm actually folding it in the opposite direction. I find that when a die creates score lines for me, if I kind of gently fold it in the opposite direction that I actually want it to end up, I get better folds. And that's just a preference of mine. So you can see I work it along there, and I'm going to start in the middle and kind of work out with my Teflon bone folder to create those 2 tabs that are on the inside of this outer pocket. Now, once I get these folded really nicely, I'm going to go ahead and open them back up so that I can put adhesive on both sides of these tabs. So it's going to go on the inside and the outside, or the front and the back, however you want to look at it. And to do this, I'm using 1/8 inch score tape because it fits perfectly on these little tabs. So I'm starting out with the inside and I'm running it all along that tab. And then I'm going to move over to my other tab and I'm going to put a piece of this 1/8 inch score tape along the inside of that tab. And I love the score tape because I can just pull it and rip it off. I think a terrible adhesive, something that you can tear, is really helpful in situations like this. Now I'm folding it over to the front side and I'm putting the score tape along the front side of these tabs as well. So you're putting it on both the front and back of both tabs. So once I get this adhesive on both sides of both tabs, I'm going to go ahead and start removing the backer on this adhesive. I'm going to start on the inside of this pocket here, and I'm going to remove the backer and fold those in. Now, the purpose of these tabs is to create a channel for that slider piece to kind of nestle into and keep it aligned. So I'm just removing the backer from that adhesive on the inner portion of the tabs, and I'm folding it into the inner part of the pocket. And this is all going to fold up and make one pocket here, and these tabs are helping us keep everything aligned and kind of stuck together. So once I fold this on the top score line, you're going to see that my pocket is taking shape here. So you'll also notice that this die creates a slot for this inner piece to kind of slide up and into. So I have my 4 slits on this inner slider piece, and I have my 4 tabs on the outer pocket piece. And I'm just going to slide this up, and I'm going to take the first tab and slide it into the first slot there, or the first kind of slit mark. I'm going to take the second tab and I'm going to slide it into the second slit that's on the inner portion. So I'm just kind of weaving these in. The third one, the third tab goes into the third slit, and then the final 4th tab goes into the 4th slit. Now, I used a heavyweight cardstock on the outer pocket portion, and I really think an 80-pound cardstock might be a little bit easier to work with. That kind of gives a little more flex to those tabs that you're kind of weaving throughout. And you can see as I close this up here and I pull the tab, you can see how that picture changer is created there. Now keep in mind, I'm using different colors of cardstock so that you can really see what I'm doing here. I really wanted that to be very clear, and that's why I'm using the 2 different colors of cardstock. Now, when I close this up, I'm going to make sure that that inner slider portion is clear of those little tabs that we folded in. Those tabs are there to keep that inner slider portion kind of lined up and moving smoothly and straight on the inside of this pocket piece. And before I close this all up, I'm going to take my powder tool and I'm going to run it along the edges of those tabs. I'm also going to run it along this center part that kind of slides over itself. And that gives it a little bit of lubrication, I guess, to kind of help everything slide smoothly. And I picked up this tip from Kelly over at Lawn Fawn, and it just really helps everything kind of move freely when you go to pull this up. And I'm not really having a whole lot of problems with it, but I really just wanted to make sure that it was nice and easy. So I wanted to show you this part again. I'm sliding that tab up into the slot. I'm taking the first tab on this center portion and I'm sliding it into the first slit there. And I'm really kind of turning this so that you can see it. I don't need to turn it that much because they line up fairly easily. And the second tab goes in the second slot, the third tab in the third slot, and the 4th tab in the 4th slot, and that creates your magic picture changer. Now, the only thing that's left to do to assemble this is to make sure that this inner slider portion is within those channels on the inside. You don't want it touching. And I'm going to reveal the adhesive by removing the backer, and then I'm going to close this up, and that creates the interactive portion of this magic picture changer die. Super easy to put together. Once you do it once, you're going to fly right through it. It is that easy. Now, in order to kind of disguise the parts that kind of overlap each other where you can see that gray, they've provided this little frame here, and you can put it over the top and you cannot see where those overlap at all. It's really kind of magical how this all comes together and how you can't really see the part underneath. But the thing you want to keep in mind when you're adhering this frame is that you only want to put adhesive from corner to corner on those outer corners. And I'm using my score tape here so that you can really see where I'm putting the adhesive. These are the only 4 points that I'm placing adhesive on this frame. If you put adhesive along the sides, you can interfere with your slider portion. So you only want to put it on those corners from corner to corner. Then I can adhere this in place, and you can see how it disguises that area where they're kind of woven together, and you can no longer see that that inner piece is there. So now I'm going to start actually working on my card, and I have my die here. This is the outer pocket piece, and I'm just kind of marking the corners of that so I can see kind of my usable area where I can stamp my little scene. And I'm using this Rain or Shine before and after stamp set. This is kind of specifically designed to go along with these magic picture changer dies. And I'm just stamping it within that square that I've created. You have kind of a very small window on these picture changers, so you want to make sure that you keep all of your stamping or your scene inside of that. I'm adding just a little bit of color with some Copic markers and kind of coloring in the background or the sky area with a BG70 marker. And those little raindrops, by the way, I stamped those in Lawn Fawn Merman ink. And I'm just coloring in that area where I've kind of mapped out my window. And once I get all of my Copic coloring done, I can take my little shimmer pin and go over my raindrops and my clouds with that. And then I'll erase my pencil lines and line up my die and run it through my die cut machine. I find it's easier, and you're going to get a better stamped image if you stamp first and then die cut. And the great thing about this picture changer is it has that window where you can see through to see what you're actually going to have in your window. So I've lined that up, I've held it in place with some delicate surface painter's tape, and I've run that through my die cut machine, and now I have my outer pocket piece ready to go. It's all stamped and ready. Now I'm going to work on the inner slider piece, and you're going to notice that this time I'm actually using white cardstock because that's what I wanted that inner portion to be. Once again, I've just created some pencil marks where I can stamp, and I'm taking the rainbow and sunshine portion of this before and after rain or shine stamp set, and I'm stamping that into that window, and once again, just adding some color with Copic markers. Then I can take the inner part of this magic picture changer, that die, I can line it up with the scene that I've stamped, and I'll run it through my die cut machine. And now I have both my outer pocket piece and my inner piece. So this rain is going to change to the sunshine and the rainbow, which I think is so much fun. Now you could do this and you could make it change from a picture to a sentiment, or from a sentiment to another sentiment. And keep in mind, you can use this with stamps that you may already have in your stash. So now that I have everything stamped, colored, and cut out, it's time to assemble. And I'm going to walk you through this one more time so that you really get the hang of how this comes together. It's very easy. And so I'm starting out by folding along the score lines on this outer pocket portion. And to help me get my little tabs started, I'm just using that ruler once again and getting that score line kind of going there so I can fold in my tabs. And I'll really reinforce those folds and make them nice and crisp and clean using my Teflon bone folder. And once I have those all scored in, I can fold along the top portion of this pocket piece, kind of reinforce that score line as well. And then I'm going to take my 1/8 inch score tape once again, and I'm going to add it to both sides of both tabs. So I'm adding it on the inner portion of both tabs, and then I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to add it on the outer portion of both tabs, just like I did before. Now, once I have all of my adhesive on both sides of the tabs, I can flip this back over and I can remove the backer from the inner portion of these tabs and kind of fold the tabs over to create the tracks that are going to keep my inner slider piece on track. I mean, how else can you say that? They're tracks to keep them on track. So I'm just folding that down and really making sure that that adhesive grabs onto the inside of this pocket piece. And then I'm ready to take the inner slider portion, feed it through the slot at the top of this pocket, and then weave together the tabs and the slits. Now, once again, I'm just going to pull this up and I'm going to take that first tab and feed it through that first slit, or the bottom tab and the bottom slit. So I'm just kind of weaving these together. I'm going to take the second tab and the second slit and kind of slide that into it. The third tab and the third slit, and then the fourth tab I'm going to place in that fourth slit. Now keep in mind that whatever you stamp on that outer pocket piece, that's going to be the image that you're going to see when the card is in its neutral state or in its uninteractive state. So that's going to be the original image or sentiment that you're working with. The piece on the inner portion is going to be what it changes to. So just kind of keep in mind and plan ahead which image you want where. Once again, I've taken my powder tool and just ran it all over. I'm making sure that this inner slider piece is within those tracks, not touching the adhesive that's on those tracks. And then I'm going to just fold this up, and now I have my magic picture changer assembled. The only thing that's left to do is kind of decorate this and put a little tab along the top. The tab along the top of this slider piece is going to act as a stopper to keep this from sliding out the bottom. So it really is an important piece of this whole kind of interactive card. But I wanted to show you that I went ahead and die cut the frame from some really rainbow pattern paper from Lawn Fawn. Now, if you want to create a card with just the magic picture changer, this is what you're going to be left with. But this blue piece that I'm cutting here, this is from the add-on die set. And this creates an entire panel where you can cover the entire outside and just leave that frame opening on the magic picture changer. So I've gone ahead and I've decided to cut this out of some kind of turquoisey or aqua cardstock. Now, just like on your frame that comes with the magic picture changer, you want to be careful where you put your adhesive on this outer piece as well. So I'm putting it once again from corner to corner and then along the outer edge of the top and the bottom, or the short edges of this entire cover. Keep in mind, you can take this and turn this horizontally on your card as well. So if you want to do a horizontal pull instead of a vertical pull, you can absolutely do that. You're just going to change the orientation of all your stamping. Now here is the tab that I've die cut from the Really Rainbow pattern paper. I'm just putting some adhesive on that, and then I'm just making sure that my magic slider is kind of in the neutral position, and I'm placing that tab along the top, and that's going to create a stopper to keep that inner portion from sliding out the bottom. Now I've die cut and I've placed that magic picture changer add-on panel, and so that's in place, and now I can use some foam adhesive to put my frame over the top of that. So you can kind of use these to add as much or as little kind of layering as you want on this magic picture changer. And I think it's really cool how they've kind of planned this out and given you lots of options for decorating this. Now I'm just embossing a few little images and sentiments here onto some vellum. I have the Feel Better from the Wavy Sentiment stamp set, and I have the little clouds from the Rain or Shine Before and After. And I've prepped the surface of my vellum with my powder tool. I've inked up my stamp with Versamark ink and stamped it onto my vellum, and then I coated it with some silver embossing powder and heat set it. Now I'm going to show you a little trick on this vellum. Because this wavy banner die that goes along with this wavy sentiment is solid, you can't see through it. I just flipped my vellum over and lined it up from the back because I can see through the vellum and kind of figure out where I need to die cut this. And then I just held it in place with a little delicate surface painter's tape and ran that through my die cut machine. And I used those to kind of embellish the outer frame on my magic picture changer. Now I took this entire thing and I added it to an A2 size card base, and I just heat embossed some more of those clouds in the silver embossing powder onto that card front. And I added a few clear droplets from the Essentials by Ellen line to kind of reinforce that rain theme. And that completes this card featuring brand new products from Lawn Fawn. And I love having a little Feel Better card in my stash because really this could be something that you give for somebody who's sick, which, by the way, the flu is really bad this year. Ask me how I know. Or it could be just for someone who's going through a rough time. And it's kind of like your rain is going to turn to rainbows because every storm has a rainbow at the end of it, right? As always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube, but head on over to the coordinating ellenhutson.com blog post. I'll have that linked below. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. As always, thanks for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this project. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the Ellen Hutson YouTube channel and turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our paper crafting and card making video tutorials. I'm so glad you stopped by today. Happy Satur-YAY, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.